Well, he drove drunk, killed 3 people, and then fled to Ireland. Tonight, 14 years after that fateful night, Fred Russell is a free man. Russell was released from a Western Washington prison this morning after serving 8 years of his 14-year sentence. The crash killed Stacy Moreau, Ryan Sorensen, and Brandon Clements, and injured 4 others. KXLY4 Jeff Humphrey working for you tonight with a look at how Russell's selfish actions made the suffering of those victims' families that much more difficult to deal with. Jeff?
Nadine, like all too many young people, Fred Russell didn't take the warnings about the dangers of drunk driving seriously until it was too late. But then on the eve of Russell showing up in court to accept responsibility for his actions, Russell thumbed his nose at WSU and the criminal justice system and then fled the country. Fred Russell vanished just 2 weeks before his vehicular homicide trial was about to get underway. The disappearing act made even more difficult to comprehend because Russell's dad was a former dean of the WSU Criminal Justice Department. Russell became one of the U.S. Marshal's most wanted fugitives and was ironically working as a mall security guard when he was finally captured in Ireland 3 years after he fled Washington State.
When it came time to stand up like a man, he made one more choice. He chose to run from the havoc he had caused.
Russell continued to dodge taking responsibility for the young lives he ended that night on the Moscow-Pullman highway, fighting extradition for 14 months. And then finally, 6 years after the crash, Russell reappeared in a Washington courtroom and was convicted of 3 counts of vehicular homicide.
I could stand up here for days on end and not be able to express to you how I feel or who I am. Most of it probably wouldn't matter too much. Matthew, I'm sorry. You waited too long to hear that. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm not going to stand up here and expect for forgiveness.
And Russell's apology may now be suspect. Years after he made it to his victims' families, Russell appealed his conviction and shaved 384 days off his sentence for the time he served behind bars in Ireland. Russell now has just 2 days to report to his probation officer in his new home state of California. Jeff Humphrey, KXLY4.
Oh, thank you for that, Jeff. And in addition to the families of the students who died in that crash, 4 others were injured, and they were left to deal with the grief and news of Russell's release. One of those surviving victims told KXLY4 today, quote, "I feel horrible for the families who lost their children. I have my own now. I can't imagine losing one of my boys. I am not upset he is getting out. Life moves forward, and I am very blessed to have great friends and a great family with healthy kids."